What is up, bros and broettes? I am Inkslasher, and today we're going to be talking about headquarters. And no, I'm not talking about the game mode, I'm talking about headquarters in Call of Duty World War II. Now, yesterday I kind of talked about it a little bit, but today we're going to go into depth and actually look at what the developers had to say about it so you can get a better idea of what it is actually going to be. And I actually believe that I have a couple of images that show the headquarters game mode at E3 that no one showed yet on YouTube. They're actually images that Call of Duty themselves put out, but no one's talked about them, so we'll get to that in a little bit. So the first things the developers actually explained about headquarters is the origin of it, and here's what they had to say about it.
Well, one of the things was the virtual lobby from AW, and really looking at that, we loved that idea and that aspect of the game, and we wanted to just bring it to the next level and have that idea of socializing in there as well. And really, that's where we set off from.
So if you guys don't remember or maybe haven't played Advanced Warfare, basically in the pre-game lobby, they had this thing they called the virtual lobby. And by the way, that's what you're looking at right here, where when you were sitting there, you could see everyone else's soldier, what they looked like, what they were wearing, what their favorite weapon was, and it was supposed to be a social aspect of the game. Really, it wasn't too much of a social aspect because you couldn't really do anything in there. However, what they're wanting to do with this headquarters thing is create this virtual lobby, but at the same time make it more social and make it more adaptive to what people actually want to do in it. So from here, what are the things that Sledgehammer is actually putting in to make it more social? Well, they've said that there's a few things in there for sure.
So what are the interactions you can have in headquarters?
So you can do a ton of things. You can commend other players, which is just, hey, you're doing a great job. Yeah. There's shootouts that you can challenge other players to. There's
shootouts?
There's a
like, can you duel?
You can duel in a 1v1 pit.
Oh,
there's actually,
wow.
You can go and queue up for a 1v1 pit, and you can sit in there and see how long you can survive in there.
Yeah.
Alright, so let's stop there. So the first thing he says is you're allowed to commend players. So assumably this is like running up to someone and kind of like waving at them, or some sort of gesture that we haven't seen in Call of Duty before, kind of like we've seen in Destiny. The second thing he says is that you can do a 1v1 duel. Now, he says that you have to go somewhere and queue up for it. So assumably you can kind of run around in this headquarters mode, go up to an area, press A, you want to play in this duel mode, and then they now have a 1v1 duel mode. This is something new. We haven't really seen duel mode since like Call of Duty 4, but definitely a nice addition to the game.
Yeah, there's just so many things.
Okay, sweet. So we actually have a live question for you guys. Taylor Saderhoyt, I hope I just said your last name correctly, asked, what is headquarters used for?
It's used for all your socializing. You can go here and party up. You can compete, like Michael was saying. You can go into the 1v1 pit. All these cool things. It's also right available at your fingertips. So when you go into matchmaking and when you matchmake, you can actually pop back into the hub, into the live lobby, into the we've had so many names for it over the development headquarters, where you can actually go back into headquarters and run around in this space and socialize while you're still in that queue.
Alright, so what he just said, there's three major parts. Once again, he stressed the 1v1 pit, he said competing, and he also said that this is the hub where you go while you are matchmaking. So, we already know what the 1v1 pit is. The competing thing is the one thing in this whole interview that they didn't go in depth with. So whether this is some sort of competitive game mode, whether it's just a way of queuing up, I am not 100% sure, or it could be a completely different game mode altogether. But this whole competing aspect of the headquarters mode, we don't really know what it is, and feel free to let me know what you think it is down in the comments. And then the third thing he said is while you're queuing up for another match, you're able to go into the headquarters and actually just run around, meet with people until your game actually starts up. I definitely think that's a really cool thing to do. Now, before we go any further and listen to the rest of the interview, I just wanted to show you guys a couple of images of headquarters. Yes, of headquarters. Now, basically, headquarters was at E3, but no one was allowed to record it. But guess what? Call of Duty, or Activision, actually uploaded a couple of images to their Facebook page where you can actually see people in the headquarters in the background. So I'm going to show you two of them. So the first of which is kind of like the virtual lobby that we talked about. It's kind of hard to see because of the angle that the camera is on, but if you really look at the screen, it looks exactly like the virtual lobby from Advanced Warfare. You can see everyone's soldier, they're all standing there. This is, I think, going to be the pre-game lobby when you're waiting to queue up. this is what you are going to see. Now, there's another thing that we haven't talked about in this interview, and in headquarters, there is also a firing range that apparently multiple people can go to, use their weapons, and shoot at targets. And since the firing range is part of headquarters, no one was able to put up pictures of it until now. If we zoom in on this TV, you can see the picture clearly here is a firing range, and apparently multiple players can all go to these firing ranges at the same time, shoot guns together, and once again, kind of be social. This is something I think is going to be very cool, and I'm really looking forward to playing this. Now, one major question that a lot of people are asking, and that question is, when can you go to the headquarters? How does the headquarters work? And finally, how does it relate to normally playing multiplayer? And they kind of answered all of that in two different questions. So here's what they had to say.
And so that's what we looked at and said, hey, this would be a great staging area for our players to go between matches, when they first boot up the game, when they're about to leave the game. All those areas where you just kind of want to unwind and hang out and have a good time, like that's what the headquarters is for.
Nice. Okay, we're going to take one more live one. Jack Sekhun, asked, will headquarters be the multiplayer main menu?
It's pretty much the multiplayer main menu.
Yeah.
In that sense. So you on boot up, you're there. You're in the headquarters. You're running around, and if you want, you just hit the options button on your PS4 and you jump right into your matchmaking and your virtual lobby experience from there.
Great.
So the most important thing we can take away from what he just said is that you press the options button and then you can hop into the virtual lobby. So the virtual lobby isn't directly in headquarters, but once you matchmake, then you're in the virtual lobby. But the main menu of multiplayer, or maybe even single player as well, is also this headquarters mode. So by going places in the headquarters, that's how you start up certain things like the dueling pit, like the firing range, like things like that. They are all started from the headquarters until you want to jump into matchmaking. Then you press options and jump into a game. The other thing that they explained to us is where the headquarters actually was and why it's there. So they said that this headquarters is at the successful invasion of Normandy. The Allies actually set up a camp there for refueling vehicles, for keeping ammunition, and that kind of thing, and that is where the headquarters is. And then in this headquarters, there can be a total of 48 players, including yourself, in the headquarters. So, I hope that answers all of the questions you guys have so far about headquarters. The one thing that I think they haven't explained yet is I also think the headquarters is going to be the area for supply drops in the game. Now, no one's announced anything about supply drops, but let's face it, there's many things that hint that there will be supply drops. First of all, there's going to be lots of character customization because of the virtual lobby, or in this case, the headquarters, and also you can inspect your weapons, so you better believe that there's going to be a ton of camos. But whether or not you like supply drops, I have a feeling they're somehow going to be intertwined with the headquarters area in World War II. But guys, if you have any questions, feel free to let me know down in the comments. Maybe I can address them in a future video. If you're new to the channel and enjoy what you saw, it'd be awesome if you could hit that subscribe button. I have a really good video coming out tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. And also, if you enjoyed the video, it'd be fantastic if you could hit that like rating. But guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time guys, peace out.